Who had the most ill-fitting outfit on Miami Vice? And what was Moira's most outrageous ensemble on Schitt's Creek? Here are a few television costuming choices that may have gone a little overboard. What's worse, Carrie Bradshaw falling flat on her face during her first ever runway walk, or her wardrobe during the infamous tumble? You be the judge. In the Season 4 Sex and the City episode, The Real Me, Carrie is invited to participate in a charity fashion show alongside Heidi Klum and former Mayor Ed Koch, both of whom appear as themselves. While she was originally slated to wear a Dolce & Gabbana dress, a last-minute change puts Carrie in a pair of bedazzled panties. Needless to say, she's not a fan of the idea at first.
How can I make this clear? Me no likey.
The idea of having one's groin area literally sparkling with the radiant reflections of diamonds in the light is certainly a romantic notion, but that doesn't excuse it being paired with Carrie's puffed-up hairdo and knee-length glam jacket. Sex and the City was always one of the most fashion-forward shows, but this particular getup was destined to be a disaster. Still, at least Carrie was able to stand up after her fall and finish her runway walk without any other incidents. As an FBI agent who spends most of his time chasing cryptids, Fox Mulder can't be expected to stay up to date on fashion trends. Even so, the early days of the X-Files saddled the beleaguered believer with some ridiculously oversized trench coats. The choice makes practical sense, since the show was shot in chilly Vancouver for its first 5 seasons. But the sheer size of Mulder's jacket could be an X-File on its own. Upon closer examination, the jacket is likely as large as it is in order to accommodate another fashion faux pas that hadn't quite been phased out by the early 1990s, the oversized shoulder pads on Mulder's suit jacket. Between the pads and David Duchovny's already broad shoulders, it kinda makes sense that the jacket needed to be absurdly huge. With a fashion sense like that, it's no wonder it took until Season 7 for Mulder and Scully to finally share their first official kiss. One of Batman's most famous villains, the Riddler, quickly became a fan favorite on the original 1960s Batman series starring Adam West as the Caped Crusader. In the first and third seasons of the show, Riddler is played by Frank Gorshin, who earned an Emmy nomination for his performance as the quizzical villain. However, for the character's appearance in Season 2, John Astin was cast in the role instead, presumably because Gorshin was unavailable at the time. While Astin, best known as Gomez from the Addams Family, does a decent enough job as the Riddler, he doesn't fill out the character's costume in quite the same way. Gorshin was an extremely skinny man, one of the few actors who could effectively wear a skin-tight leotard without looking unintentionally silly. John Astin, while not overweight, simply didn't have a body type that was flattered by such a costume. Decades later, when Jim Carrey took on the role of the Riddler in Batman Forever, he wore a skin-tight leotard costume that paid tribute to Frank Gorshin's iconic outfit. Thankfully, Carrey was just as skinny as Gorshin, so there was no unfortunate curves on his version of the eccentric Enigma. In The Final Frontier, there will be unisex mini-dresses. While his intentions were noble, series creator Gene Roddenberry's idea of a Starfleet uniform designed for both men and women ultimately proved to be something of a misfire for the science fiction series. His reasoning was simple. If women in Star Trek can wear pants like the men traditionally do, then there should be a skirt that men can wear too. Alas, the skant, as it was called, looked silly in practice, with its tiny sleeves making its wearers look like uncomfortable children. The skant only made sporadic appearances in the early days of the Next Generation and was quickly phased out, with most of the crew members transitioning to pants. More recently, the animated series Star Trek Lower Decks took a much-deserved shot at the ill-fitting outfit.
Should we be in skants for this?
Nobody wears those anymore. Don't overthink it.
Perhaps if Riker or Picard had given the skant a chance, the fashion of Star Trek would have gone down a different path. As it is, however, this awkward mini-dress is just a footnote in Trek history. Oliver Queen, more commonly known as the Green Arrow, wears a green leather ensemble that hides his identity while providing a degree of protection from physical blows. For the most part, his costume is chic and functional, allowing the righteous vigilante to look cool while fighting to save the city that he loves. Unfortunately, the version of his outfit seen in Season 4 of Arrow doesn't exactly hit the bullseye. Most glaringly, this particular costume is sleeveless. While it does a good job of showing off Stephen Amell's big arms, it looks more like the wardrobe department ran out of material during production. His long gloves and arm guards don't do much to hide how silly the whole thing looks at times. Queen's shoulders are even covered by big, rounded shoulder pads, which make him look more like a Ninja Turtle than an Emerald Archer. Finally, the costume simply isn't green enough, but it was apparently supposed to be, since several scenes put a cheap CG filter over the suit in an attempt to make it pop. Fortunately, this was all fixed in Season 5. ditching the bizarre overlay and bringing sleeves back to the costume. Moira Rose, played by Catherine O'Hara in the hit TV series Schitt's Creek, is the walking definition of over the top. Not an episode of the show goes by in which she doesn't wear a bizarre costume and a horrific wig to match. Throughout the series, her outfits run the gamut from absolute nightmare to, okay, that's actually pretty good. For the grand series finale, in which Moira serves as the officiant for her son's wedding, she pulls out all the stops and dons the worst or best outfit ever seen on the show. This particular getup is Moira's take on the Pope, complete with a long gown and giant mitre. Her wig is relatively normal by her standards, though its blonde locks do inexplicably line the entire brim of the Pope hat. The real cherries on top are the golden gloves, complete with several rings. Rings over gloves may be the ultimate fashion sin, but that doesn't stop Moira from doing a fantastic job with the wedding, making for a touching final chapter to the Schitt's Creek saga. Former The Shield star Michael Chiklis joined the cast of Fox's Batman origin story Gotham in its second season as Nathaniel Barnes, a no-nonsense, tough-as-nails cop with a checkered past. When he's infected by a drop of blood from Mad Hatter's dead sister, he becomes something even nastier. He becomes the Executioner, an original villain created for the show. As the Executioner, Barnes murders criminals, which inevitably puts him into conflict with the more ethically minded Jim Gordon. He wears Green Arrow-style grease paint over his eyes and adorns himself with armor that looks like something a Cenobite from Hellraiser might wear. The awkward armor is provided to Barnes by the Court of Owls, a secret society that has pulled Gotham strings for generations. Maybe that's why they gave him a costume that looks like it's from a straight-to-video sequel to Eyes Wide Shut. Ellen Mischke, arch-nemesis of Elaine Bennis and heir to the O. Henry candy bar fortune, may have only appeared on 4 episodes of Seinfeld, but she certainly made a lasting impression. In her debut on Season 7's The Caddy, Sue Ellen refuses to wear a bra while out in public, prompting Elaine to buy one for her as a passive-aggressive birthday present. Sue Ellen responds by wearing the bra as a top on its own, with nothing but a blazer to cover it up. This unconventional outfit distracts Jerry and Kramer while they're on the road, causing a car accident that leads to a trial parodying the O.J. Simpson case. When asked to put on the bra over her leotard, the garment doesn't fit. And just like Johnny Cochran famously said about O.J.'s bloody glove,
"If it doesn't fit, you must acquit."
Of course a bra's not gonna fit on over a leotard. A bra's gotta fit right up against a person's skin. Like a glove!
As a result, Sue Ellen goes unpunished for her crimes against fashion. By the end of the episode, the idea of wearing a bra as a top becomes a huge hit with the public. Decades before Denis Villeneuve turned Dune into a Hollywood blockbuster, the Sci-Fi Channel aired Frank Herbert's Dune, a miniseries based on the acclaimed 1965 novel. Produced on a budget of $20 million, the miniseries aired in 2000 and became a huge hit for the network. There is a wide variety of factions within the world of Dune, and the miniseries' way of conveying these disparate allegiances was to give each group a different style of costume, often accentuated by distinct headwear. Unfortunately, these costumes can be more than a little distracting. Today, Frank Herbert's Dune is remembered mainly for its wacky outfits, particularly the hats worn by characters like Princess Eurylin. But honestly, nearly every character can be described as fashion overkill. This whole list could consist of nothing but entries from Miami Vice. Such was the glorious audacity of the groundbreaking series' sense of style. However, the first place honor has to go to actor Timmy Capello, who appeared in Season 3's Teresa as the enforcer Arzola. This gun-toting henchman wears a bizarrely misshapen tank top that's so ghastly he ends up taking it off partway through the episode. While he's set up as an intimidating thug, Arzola is unceremoniously killed when he runs into traffic while trying to escape from protagonist Sonny Crockett. Across the 4 seasons of his Comedy Central series, Nathan For You, Nathan Fielder made a career out of trying to revitalize struggling businesses through hilariously unconventional means. His ideas have ranged from abusing "you break it, you buy it" policies to selling a $1 TV guarded by a live alligator, all with varying degrees of success. However, one of his more bizarre and messy plans involved a plastic suit filled with delicious chili. In a Season 4 episode, Fielder meets with a chili shop owner whose dream is to sell his food at a nearby hockey stadium. Unfortunately, the stadium isn't offering contracts to outside vendors. Fielder's plan? To smuggle chili into the arena to sell by hiding it in a custom-built bodysuit. After some rigorous testing and a few redesigns, the show's host dons the covert chili dispenser and actually manages to sneak it past security under some plus-sized hockey merch. Believe it or not, the plan is relatively successful. as Fielder is able to sell 16 bowls and bring back a $20 profit. Whether or not it was worth carrying 30 pounds of chili around for over an hour is a different story. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.